Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stand. It is Wednesday night. No, it isn't Thursday night. We're just getting used to next season when we are losing our Thursday night show to the Europa League. So we're just doing a little pre-rehearsal sort of mid-season show tonight. We've got loads to talk about. Can United get their targets? Big guns, teams that are actually in the Champions League next season now reportedly in for supposedly United targets. What is Ten Hag going to do? Who is going to come into that CDM position? It is looking like that is hotting up more than anything right now in the speculation roster. But we're going to discuss it all. Get your points in. Get your comments in as well, everybody. Don't forget, after this show on That's Football, Mark is covering the Liverpool game there. So jump across and watch Mark after the show over there on that channel as well. Kev is in the house. Kev, good week so far, mate. How are you doing, buddy?
Yeah, man. Wednesday crew. How do we do? Just made that one up off the top of my head. But yeah, great to be on discussing United. I'm sure they'll send me crashing back down to earth tomorrow against Chelsea. For some reason, I've predicted on the United Stand predictor that we'll actually win. But I can't give you any reason why we will. Well, probably just because I'm a stupid United fan. That's all I'll say. Keep the faith and all that.
Oh, God. Good to get another opinion on the show. Alex, not been on for a few weeks, mate. So a lot has happened since you was on the show. It always seems to be. I always seem to intro you this way, Alex, mate. A lot has happened. But so far this week, mate, let's just stick to the week. How are you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I've been trying to lay low and avoid everything about football in general until next season, but got dragged back in for tonight. But yeah, looking forward to it. Nice.
And everybody, I'm going to do it for her. Beth finishes uni tomorrow. This is a celebration night for Beth. She's done and dusted. She's on her way back to Manchester from Liverpool tomorrow to celebrate with a United win against Chelsea, Beth.
Honestly, Adam, that'd be great. But do you know what I mean? It's like, when I said the other weekend, you can't let United ruin your weekends anymore because it's just inevitable that it's going to be a poor performance. That's how I'm feeling about tomorrow. Like, it's sad, but I'm going to go there. I'm going to watch the game, watch Chelsea, watch United, but whatever the result, it's not going to affect my mood, and I'm just buzzing to finish uni and focus on next season where hopefully I can go to Old Trafford and watch good football.
Good football, that's what we're all hoping for.
They were the days.
Them were the days, weren't they? Are them days coming back? Well, we need a team, first of all. We've talked about departures. We've talked about everything that's going to go on that we pretty much already know is going to happen in terms of players leaving this summer. But Kev, let's set us off, mate. The heat is on in terms of that CDM role. There are players out there that, realistically, I think United can go for. Neves, Bissouma, Phillips. Again, that's heated up again today in the speculation section on, well, all over social media and everywhere else. We've got to discuss it, mate. It is the one area that you've earmarked, like everyone on the show's earmarked. I mean, looking at all of them names, you would look with where United are finishing in the league this season. We know we're not going to be in the Champions League. It's more realistic targets, which is probably a good sign, I would say, Kev. That's the sort of pond we should be fishing in right now, is it not?
It is, and I think it's such a vital part of the team. Don't get me wrong, I like Declan Rice, but if we're trying to throw in the mix that maybe Ten Hag's going to have roughly 200 million to spend plus whatever he can offload, then Declan Rice doesn't really fall into the equation. I get loads of people, Kev, he's overrated, this, that. Fair enough, that is your opinion. Phillips, that one excites me. So does Neves, Bissouma. Anyone is better than what we have at the minute. Mr. Blobby, Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck. Anyone in there would make more of an improvement in our midfield than what we currently have. You know, I think everybody agrees that we're just fed up. And that no matter how you mix it up, we know Matic is going at the end of the season, but you really been relying on the likes of Fred, McTominay, Matic in that kind of engine room. And I just think it's such a vital part of the team. Phillips from Leeds, that excites me. And I don't know, maybe some other people might look at it and go, no, not really what we need. I think he's exactly what we need. Exactly what we need in the middle of the field. The thing that needs shaking up in the middle, we've had players, you've got Fred and McTominay, they've got the kind of engine on them. But I think when you've got a player that knows that role exactly, which I don't believe either of them players have at the minute, it's going to make a massive, massive difference to Manchester United. There's no doubt that we need two of them. Two in that midfield proper shakes things up for me. And it makes the dynamics of the team totally, totally different to what we've had to be subjected to all season, really.
Yeah, I mean, a Leeds player to Manchester United, Alex, it's a rarity, mate. But you're part of our group. You've had your opinion on a lot of things. Now's your chance to wear it, mate. Is there a particular target out there that you like the look of more for art? I mean, Phillips, first of all, could you see that happening? And is there another option there that you would ideally go for? I mean, some people would say we need 3 midfielders going forward, Alex, but how do you see it going?
The Leeds thing I don't think is that much of an issue because historically they've sold to us loads of times and you can say, okay, he is a Leeds fan, he's from Yorkshire and everything, but we had that with Alan Smith. I know they went down. Leeds probably won't go down this season. So my question would be, would Phillips actually leave to United? Because obviously they're bred with such a hatred towards us as we see when we go to Ellen Road and everything. But the main thing that concerns me with Phillips is I do think he's a good player, and I think actually the position we want him to play in that lone six is actually a better fit than Declan Rice, because Rice seems to play more for West Ham in that kind of box to box role, which I imagine next season Fred's going to play. Yeah, so like a destroyer type role, which Fred is going to play. Well, I hope Fred's going to play unless we sign someone new next season. But the price, I just think it is a really high price. But with that said, the price I see for Basuma and everyone, it's always around that 50 million market as well. So it's like we're going to be paying that no matter what. I do think Phillips would be a good fit for that role. Like if you see like his pressures and stuff playing in that Bielsa side with Leeds, he is a good player. And with England, you see him with obviously not as intense a style, but he can play that more possession based football. So I would be happy. It's just the price. If we're to believe this 200 million, then that's a quarter of our budget gone instantly. With the 50 million, and I don't know if he's worth 50 million, but then all Premier League players have a massive increase on them because every single Premier League club is rich, and then you have the English tax on top of it that adds to it. But yeah, I would be happy with it overall, but I do think we need more than one midfielder, especially with Pogba going, with Lingard. Okay, it's not as deep, but that sort of Matic going. So we're going to lose so many bodies that you will have Garner coming in and other players like that, Hannibal, but we need experience as well. We can't just rely on youth. In the first summer, okay, with Ten Hag coming in, I think we will be more reliant on youth than we'd want to be, just purely because so many people are leaving. Like if you look, to just digress a tiny bit, in the striking department with Martial, we don't know what's happening with him. Greenwood probably gone, but we don't know fully. So we're only left with one striker, with Cavani leaving as well. So you have Charlie McNeil coming in, I assume. So and potentially like Nunes or some other striker. So it's more to do with just bodies getting in there. So I would take him, but I'd much prefer it if Leeds went down to just get him on the cheap. But I don't see that happening.
No, that's it. I mean, Beth, there's plenty there. I mean, the two midfielders within the room and Bill, and like what we've just discussed there, Phillips, Basuma there, Neves, these players realistically look like the United sort of targets. Is the two in there? Would you go all in on, like Alex said, the budget in midfield, and then maybe try and integrate the youth in elsewhere and what we've got? Or is it a case maybe get one, maybe get another player for somewhere else we're looking like up front? And is there two midfield options there that we can actually afford?
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? It's like we've got so many areas of the pitch that we need to improve. And I mean, even if United go out and spend 150 to 200 million, which is what I'd be expecting for Ten Hag, a new manager coming in, it's mad to think that's still not enough money to get anywhere near
four players
of what we need. When it comes down to Calvin Phillips, I've got to say, I know there's a lot of people in the chat that aren't a big fan and overhyped English players, etc., etc. I've got to say, I rate him quite a lot. I think he's a very good midfielder. I think England, potentially one of the best teams in Europe, like in national teams. And in the final, I feel like we should have gone on to beat Italy. We didn't. But let's just rewind to when Calvin Phillips got player of the tournament for England in one of the best sides. Like I think he's a good midfielder, and he did not look out of place in that England team. Again, the price for me, a little high. So it's whether Manchester United want to pay that. And when you do pay that, especially for an English player, it always comes back to buy. If you don't start performing, people are going to say overpaid for English talent. And I do think there's a lot of other players out there that you can go and buy. So I don't think it's a necessity that you have to go for either Phillips or Rice just because they're in the Premier League. Both are great players. I think Declan Rice is probably the best midfield prospect in the Premier League at the moment when it comes down to a defensive midfielder or a box-to-box midfielder. But he's going to be way too much money. So I feel like you've got to cross Declan Rice off the list. You just can't afford to go and spend 100 million of your budget on him because of the players that we've got around him. I think you look at a player like Phillips, you look at a player like Tchouaméni, which again, probably not going to be able to go and get because we're not in the Champions League. This is a problem. You've got to look at realistic targets. You spend 50 to 60 million on a player like that. With Tchouaméni, you're probably looking more at like 70 million. And then hopefully there's a lot of players out there that are cheaper, up-and-coming talents. Kamara is on a free at the moment. I think you've got to get 2 midfielders in. So it's whether you go split that money and get 2 midfielders for 25, 30 million each, or you go and spend a little bit more on one and try and get a cheaper alternative. But I think you've got to try and get 2 midfielders in. And if you don't get 2, you've got to get a really, really special player because our midfield is lacking in options and it definitely needs serious investments. But you've got to get a centre-back on top of that, and for me, you've got to get a right back as well. So everyone's got different targets that they want, and that shows how poor they are.
In the midfield area, I know obviously Frankie De Jong's been mentioned, obviously because Ten Hag's worked with him. Now again, a player you probably look and think the price, 65, around the 70 million mark.
Higher, I bet.
I know we're talking about Calvin Phillips and you throw a Ruben Neves in as well. You know, imagine signing them 2 players, just how different Manchester United's team looks. That's without trying to sort out the left back, right back. It just changes the United team absolutely, 100% completely. Everything
on
changes.
That, Kev. I'll go with you on that next one. I mean, but Ruben Neves, why has he made this move? It's like he's been in the Premier League a long time now. I've seen him tear United apart for 3 years straight. And I mean, literally tear us a new one every single time. Why hasn't this guy moved? Why has no one been in for him, Kev? Because all the comment section there is like, what about Neves? He will be a cheaper option. He has got that bite and that nastiness about him, but he can control the game as well. And that is key for us. That transitional section of our play, the non-existent bit, that's what we're really lacking. Would Neves, he would help us, surely, wouldn't he, the way he plays? And that Portuguese connection just for that one season with Ronaldo and Bruno, it would be nice, would it not?
Yes. I can't believe it either because he's literally been under our noses,
taking the piss out of us, mate.
Yeah. The nice bit of steak under, you can smell it. It looks lovely. It's great. But why have we never entertained it? I've never, ever understood that. And as you rightly say, he's dominated games we played in. And in fairness, anybody could dominate our midfield. But Neves has been, he's been a standout player whenever he's played against Manchester United. And you think he's absolutely timeless. Keeps the ball well, knows exactly what to do in the role. And I don't know, what does it come down to? Should it be our management at the time? Because surely you're watching this lad destroy Manchester United. You would look. And in the past, United have always competed for them players, the ones that have played really, really well against them. I understand that's when we were a decent team, but is it even a scouting thing? I know we were talking the other night about these 2 scouts that had left, and one of them, 16 years he's been there, was responsible for bringing in Javier Hernandez. 1 player in 16 years. Yeah, a player who's Premier League proven would walk into Manchester United's team. And I know there's been a few mentions of it, but it is. I really can't understand why Manchester United have never really made a solid move for him, because there doesn't seem to be any indication that Man United have really ever been in for him, which is mad.
That's
it. He's only 25 as well.
Yeah, that's it. I mean,
he's
been on the scene a while, Alex. Where do you rate Neves as a midfielder? Do you think he would be? I mean, we say step up. I mean, Wolves are pretty much competing on our level this season at the moment in terms of the league. So he is used to that position. He will only play in that position. I think he's not that versatile sort of utility player. He's a master of the position, which is probably what we need more than anything right now.
It depends completely what Ten Hag wants in a player. Like, I feel like Phillips is better defensively. Neves is way better on the ball. So, and again, the price of I've seen Neves, and that's what is surprising about that we've never gone in for him. Is that always when I've seen us linked with him, he's been rated like 24 mil, 25 mil. So you'd think with the price we have spent on players in the past that would just be a tap in. But I guess he isn't the sort of player that we seem to want to target. That sort of more like deep line playmaker type role. But it does seem weird because he is. I didn't realize. I thought he was actually younger than 25 because obviously he was at Atletico, wasn't it, before, and then he moved to Wolves through the Jorge Mendes stuff. But I guess he has been at Wolves for ages now, like, even in the Championship. So, yeah, it is weird that no one snapped him up. So should that kind of be a red flag to us that
weird,
not even just us, take us out the equation, that no one snapped him up?
I mean, it's got to be hope, Beth, hasn't it? I mean, Traore went to Barcelona, but someone's got to buy these Wolves players, surely. I mean, Jota worked out. I would say he was playing on the same sort of level as Jota when Jota was at Wolves in his position. Liverpool took that chance on him, seen a player that fitted in a position. Why can't United do something similar like that? Already scared to in case it does go wrong. And again, another mistake. Is that what it come down to?
Well, there's these players that are around at the moment, and it's like Neves is one of them, Basuma is one of them, Phillips is one of them. The players that are good players that are playing in teams that you think can they make the step up? And some players, they look good in certain teams. I mean, Wolves are playing on our level at the moment, but they look good in certain teams. Then they have took the step up before, and it's not worked out for them. I mean, Harry Maguire is a prime example of that. And there is some players where they step up to the next level and they just can't do it. So in a way, yes, it is a little bit of a risk, but this is the risk you have to take. There's players that have worked out and have gone on to be great players for the top teams. Unfortunately, it seems like United have got it wrong quite a few times. I think they got it wrong with Wan-Bissaka. That's my personal opinion. I don't think he's a modern fullback that we need. I think he's a very good defensive fullback. He's not the modern fullback we need. I think they got it wrong with Harry Maguire. And at the time, a lot of people rated him because he did look good in that Leicester team and he looked good in an England back five. But this is where the scouts need to come in and they need to do the work. And I mean, it's up to the scouts to know whether these players are going to go on and have a career with United. And it's also about analysing these players and seeing which ones are going to work under Ten Hag's system, what Ten Hag's looking to do with this Manchester United team. So it'll be interesting to see which one of them players does get the move, because I know Basuma was linked to Arsenal last summer, and it'll be interesting to see who can do it and who can take the step up. But for me, Neves, Basuma, Phillips, but to be honest, Neves and Phillips are, for me, probably a little bit ahead of Basuma right now. We're all players ready to take the next step up. It's just whether they can perform.
Are you just saying that? Are you just saying that to have a dig at Jordan because he loves Basuma, Beth?
He
Come
does
on.
I think Basuma's a very good player. I just don't think he's got the attacking sense to his game that you need as a CDM at a top level. Like you see Rodri, you see Fabinho. They've got that, they can score goals and they have got that transition to the game. Not quite sure if Basuma's got that. Defensively, great midfielder though. But yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Earlier on, Beth, I'll come to you first on this one. You did mention Tuamini and the unlikeliness of it, simply because we're not in the Champions League. Obviously, Real Madrid well on top for that. Christian Folks now has, in fact, broke a story about Bayern Munich being fully interested in Timber from Ajax, who ideally I'd have thought would have been a good target for United, especially working under Ten Hag. Again, unproven, I know, but this is the sort of play that we are going to have to start taking a chance on now. We've bought the ready-made stuff, and that hasn't worked. So, trusting the manager, he's got a lot of work to do, Ten Hag, in terms of dragging these targets across, Beth, haven't he? Because this not being in the Champions League could play a big part now, because we've mentioned it on shows before where teams are looking at, and players are looking at the Champions League now, especially the younger players.
This is a problem. Like I mentioned it, you know, when we were talking on a show a while ago, whether the top four was possible, whether we think we're going to get it. Obviously now we in the words of Randy, you've got to be realistic. We're not getting top four. We're just simply not. And I had the discussion. I think it was actually Jordan who I was having the discussion with, and he was like, you can still get quality players when you're not in the Champions League, but when you're looking for top up and coming targets, and I'm not saying you have to go and buy all the big stars at once, you don't, but players like Tchouaméni, players like Nunes, they're going to be looking at teams, because teams will be looking at them that are in the Champions League. It's like apparently Arsenal's very interested in Nunes, and so are we. It is so sad for me to sit on here and say he probably would choose Arsenal because they're probably going to be in the Champions League. Like, that is disgusting to even think about, that our players could potentially choose Arsenal over Manchester United, because they are going to be in my opinion, they're going to be in the Champions League next season, and we are not. So it is hard to get these players in. Like Neves is a top target that I think would be great at Manchester United. Whether you want to go and spend the full budget on him, it's up to everyone's different opinions. He's not going to want to come to United because we're not in the Champions League. Shuamini, I think he tweeted about the Champions League being the best competition. Up and coming players want to play in that competition, and we're not going to be in it. Real Madrid, who's also interested in him, are going to be in it. They've got Benzema, who's on fire, performing in the Champions League like we saw last night. Games like that, these players could be included in. So are they really going to go and choose Europa League football with Manchester United? It's whether Ten Hag can sell that project, which is going to be very hard, especially considering, West Ham could be in the Champions League next year and we're not going to be there. It's just, it's frustrating.
But that's a prime example, like West Ham and Arsenal. Like, I feel like, okay, I'm obviously biased, but if you have the chance to play for Manchester United and like loads of players, you have to remember the Ronaldo effect. He's probably going to stay for another year. You'll get, how many more chances will you get in your career to play alongside Ronaldo is a massive pull. Arsenal over us. You have to remember the reason Arsenal got top 4 this season is because they had no Europe. Next season, they're going to be back to normality. West Ham, I feel like if we're competing with like a Chelsea, City or Liverpool and that Champions League type thing, I fully understand because you know they're going to still be in the Champions League. With a team like Arsenal or West Ham or like teams like that, I don't think that pull is that because everyone knows Arsenal aren't going to be in the Champions League next season, the following season, sorry.
I agree.
Sorry, go on, Beth.
I was going to say, I agree with the fact you're not, no disrespect to West Ham, you're not going to pick West Ham over Manchester United, even if you get in the Champions League next year. I understand that, but Arsenal, unfortunately, it pains me to say it, they have also got history. Like, they have. So it's like, it is a tough one. And it's like looking at Real Madrid. Like, they're selling their own project every week in the Champions League. Their games so far this season have been amazing. And it's like, any team like that, going in for players, we're not going to be able to compete with them, and that's the sad part about it.
I mean, Kev, is there any shout here for players actually looking at what Ten Hag has done previously at Ajax and how he's improved young players and brought players through and made them better as well? That is another pull that we're going to have in our hat as well this year. I mean, it's tough. His job is going to be tough, obviously, but surely young players and like that record of the amount of quality players that he has produced and brought through, that should go in our favour as well, and it's something that we could hopefully look forward to as well.
Well, Manchester United's been based on this, hasn't it, traditionally? I know we can look back, obviously, as far back as the Busby Babes, and that would suggest that Manchester United would certainly look to a manager that develops and gives a pathway to youth, which, in a way, when sort of Mourinho got the job, you were looking and thinking, well, you know, we knew he was going to bring in the likes of Ibrahimovic and that, and it's players that he's managed before, trusted, tested. I expect Ten Hag 100% to go back to that Ajax team and certainly look at players there that he's brought through to bring with him. It's only natural. Managers have done this in the past, and we've seen it. Managers know they can trust players, that they'll bring them with them. The likes of, as you mentioned earlier, Timber, you know, it's a bit of a risk, but from Ten Hag's point of view, he knows exactly what he can get from that player. He's managed him. From Ten Hag's point of view, I mean, he's literally stepping into a minefield at Manchester United. You don't know what is going on, do you? Well, in fact, he will know because Ralf Rangnick will let him know. But it's breaking up this dressing room now. We know the leaks have come out. And Ten Hag will want his own personalities in. It's time to reshape the dressing room. We've heard the comments Jesse Lingard's made, apparently to Paul Scholes has come out with saying the dressing room's broken. Nothing we don't really know, is it? You know, he's not saying anything outlandish or anything that we didn't expect. You know, it would been more sort of if he'd have come out and said, oh, it's brilliant. You know, everybody loves each other. I think we know deep down that a lot of these players probably don't see eye to eye, don't get on or get on well together. So it's all about breaking that up. But Ten Hag, he will give youth a chance, and that's why Hannibal coming on for his little 5-minute cameo at Liverpool. I'm fully aware he didn't set the world alight with it. All it was, he come on and showed like he wanted to play for Manchester United. And that will cut it for me at the minute. We need more of them players at United that will go out and give it their all. I know when you said that, I'm a merchant, but it's gone. When
you said that, then Kev, it was like when I was driving back from Arsenal at weekend. I remember putting you guys fan forum on, I remember Beth saying, "Is this how far our standards have dropped?" Playing all right against Arsenal is now good. I was just like, you know what, you got to take that into consideration. But I mean, Alex, I'll come on to you next on this one. It's like, we all know that Italian league is a great retirement league for ex-United players. So many that have gone there. It's reported, and managers actually, because Jose Mourinho is looking to go in on a bit of a raid on United this summer. Matic,
take them all.
Take all the
is there a chance there? I'm going to ask you right now. I'm going to put you on the spot as well. Can we make any money out of that? Is Eric Bailly the only one with value that we can add to our 200 million pot? Can we do business?
Yeah, out of them, yeah, yeah, pretty much. But Roma, I swear, don't. Oh yeah, it was Roma with Smalling, wasn't it? That like they were haggling over like what was it like? They offered us originally like 10 million, and we wanted like 15 million, and like the extra 5 million was too much for them. So when we're dealing with Italian clubs or pretty much clubs from any country apart from the apart from England with the Premier League, because that's where you get the big money from, really. But with like these Italian clubs, and they really don't have the sort of money we need. Like Inter obviously used to, but then they went through their issues, and then they obviously don't have as much money now. But Roma, I wouldn't expect to get much from Matic. Is he leaving at the end of his contract, or is it like the end of his contract?
Yeah, Matic is going on a free, isn't he?
Yeah, Matic.
So he's a free.
He had the 1 year.
Does Matic have 1 year left because he had the 2-year deal? And
yeah, I think Matic is still going.
I think Matt is.
No, I know he's going, but is it a free or a 1 year?
Oh,
I think it's a free.
Yeah, so free. So nothing. And then Bailly probably has like 2 years, wouldn't he?
Oh, he just signed a 5-year deal, didn't he?
Oh God, so yeah, but then it's like with like I absolutely love Bailly, and I don't get why Rangnick hasn't played him more. And
he secured the bag with that one, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, but then it's like, will someone take a punt on him? Like you do see quite often that injury-prone players, they will leave a club and then they'll go to a new club and they won't be injury-prone anymore. So it could, and United's medical department historically hasn't been like that brilliant. So I think we could potentially get money out of it. The fact it's Roma makes me think we won't get any money out of it. But as him as a player, if we could sell him to a Premier League team, then I would be on board with that. Although I might be in the minority now with his injury record, but I still do really rate him.
Yeah, I mean, Beth, is there any hope we can sell any players? I mean, looking at it, you got United in the way they structure deals now. I think our major problem is that wage bill and actually freeing up all right, just tell me what it is. What is it?
I've just seen a really funny comment.
Okay. Right, do you need a minute then?
Yeah, right, go on, I'm ready.
Right, okay. Stop it, people in the comments, for God's sake. It's professional. Anyway, the contracts, the wages, I think that's where we can sort of take advantage, because you're looking at the amount of money that's going on there. We can still. I'm thinking of just taking this right to Kev now because I'm giving up. Right. As soon as anyone makes a laughing emoji in the comments, it's just going to go in again. So please just
block it out. I'm trying to
rain,
block it out.
and then they all start coming up, don't they? But right, let's look at it this way. Professional, eh?
Right, I'm ready.
Wage bill is a big thing. That is going to help us negotiate more, because obviously we can structure. No one pays out 50 million in one go. It's all structured. It's the wages which United have to balance their books with. Is that an opportunity for us with the players then that we know are leaving this summer? Because there's some very big earners out the door this summer, and that could give us a little bit more negotiation power.
Exactly, that's what you've got to think about. When you look at the players that are leaving, Cavani, big wages, Pogba, big wages, and then you've got I swear Mata's on like 180 grand a week. That's big wages for someone that doesn't play. I think that's the same amount of money that Mane and Salah are on. That's crazy that Mata is on that money like now.
180 grand a week?
Yeah, he's on 180 grand a week.
I think actually didn't it go down a little bit because of his new contract? I think
maybe it did, but that is what he was on.
Still decent.
Yeah, so there's a lot of players that are going to be leaving with big wages, and you've also got to think about it. Even if Ronaldo does stay for another season, which I hope he does, it's only one more year of paying that wage for him, and that'll be coming into consideration as well. Because when you say about the structured deals, like 500 grand from a week from Ronaldo will be off the wage book by the end of next summer. And you think about these things in advance. So United do have a chance to cut the wage bill down and stop offering these stupid contracts. But at the same time, they've just give Bruno a decent amount of money. Looks like they're going to give Shaw a decent amount of money, or too much money, in my opinion, for players that aren't performing week in, week out. So yes, we are going to save money is the blunt part of it, and we might even get a little bit of money back if certain players go, like Phil Jones and Eric Bailly and players like that. We can get a little bit, but ultimately you're going to be saving money on wages, which comes into consideration as well. When I mean, there's players that are going on a free. A lot of players that are going on a free at the end of this season, and I know the likes of Rudiger's going to sign for Real Madrid. That was inevitable. When we got linked to him, I always knew he wasn't going to sign with us because players like that sign for Champions League teams, like we were just saying. But there's players out there that you can go and get and are waiting for the next move, and they've ran the contract down. So I think Manchester United need to be wise with the business this summer, but also think about, try and build the project, but also be wise of who they're getting in and how they're going to spend the money, because a lot does need to be done in one summer, and they're going to have to be wise about it. But also, don't get players in that aren't going to be long-term prospects as well. Like, you don't want to just go and buy people for the sake of it because they're cheap. So I'm hoping that a lot of work's gone into this summer by the scouting network. And I'm hoping that certain Ralph Rangnick gets listened to this summer, because that's really important. It's going to lay the groundwork for this project. So it's really important this summer.
Yeah, I mean, Kev, just doing a little bit of calculating myself there. So then players that we just mentioned, so you go on the Matic, Bayer, let's say Henderson, Martial, Cavani, Pogba, Lingard, I think pretty nailed on for leaving in the summer. Just off an average calculation of their wages, 6 million a month. All you have to do is go through a season. That will pay for half of your budget in the summer. Yeah, they're going to be wages as well on them players. But if you do it right, you structure it right, in line with the new UEFA sort of expenditure rules that are coming in to replace financial fair play. Just look at that. Simple maths. I mean, it's not FIFA, I know, but we know what these players are on. And if you take that out of the equation, there's a chance United could spend upwards of 200 million. It's about the structure and who they buy and not giving stupid wages, like Beth said. There are ways around this. And if this club is as business savvy as it claims to be and bigs itself up to be when these quarterly figures come out, then there's a way of working this football related as well in terms of the money coming in and out, because it's like you said, them scouts, the restructure, what Ten Hag wants, now with Ralph Rangnick being upstairs, hopefully giving his advice and stuff, could turn it around, Kev. But that alone there, around 6 million a month, a few months into money, a season, mate, there's a player right there.
It's mega money. And that's the reason why a lot of us Manchester United fans are resigned to the fact that this is probably the start of the biggest rebuild that we've certainly seen in our lives as Manchester United fans, depending on kind of what age you are or whatever. But certainly in my lifetime, I mean, I can see, you've mentioned whatever 6 or 7. There's also probably another 7 or 8 that you would actually want to see gone, and that's without taking into account the players that you might want to leave. That's what I'm trying to get at. You could throw in really Wan-Bissaka, Harry Maguire's wages are probably astronomical compared to other players. Even if Lindelof went, I don't know, Tellez, Fred, I could go on and on and on, but that's probably 6 players there that I don't think would affect us leaving. And I bet they're all on massive wages at Manchester United. So, yeah, it's going to be a huge summer, but the fact of the figures, and when you look at it, it does make sense into the fact that it's being reported that Ten Hag will have roughly about 200 million to go out there. For me, it's how he goes about spending it. Beth's right. There are players there on a free that you can look at. And the likes of, I don't know, Kessie from AC Milan. It's not set in stone, a done deal yet. Always played well. He's played well against Manchester United when I've seen him. Could be one. Rudiger, that one ship seems to have sailed.
I think he's going to Barca, Kessie, Kev.
Yeah. Oh, is he?
I think so.
Nice one.
Yeah,
brilliant.
I mean, I'm just going
to give
Alex
Rudiger to Real as well.
I'm just going to give Alex a chance to thank Manchi for his pint. There you go. For you, Alex, that one. But anyone, I mean, Mark was talking about it the other day. He talked about free transfers. Ericsson, anyone? Player
He's
there?
going to
No,
Spurs, isn't he?
it doesn't have to. United can
I think
pull
he's
strings.
I think
Ten
he's a
Hag
great
again.
player. He's a great player, and I think he's been very, very good at Brentford since he's gone there. I just think we need to be looking for fresh, young, up and coming players that are going to be starting this project for the long term. In my personal opinion,
Isn't he
In
like
that
30
mix.
something as well?
The experience on a free. Would
Oh,
that
on a
not?
free, yeah, true.
He's a free transfer for a couple of seasons. Well, we bring in other areas like we said we need to prioritise. It's a name,
But
but these
But
free ones out there.
in that position, we already have Van der Beek coming back, who's everyone always goes on about how amazing he is. So we'll see next season.
Alex,
how
I'd
amazing
say
he is.
I can sense a tone there with you, Alex. Please elaborate on that, Van der Beek.
Well, to be fair, with the system, I assume Ten Hag wants to play. We'll see. It will be him and Bruno battling it out.
Yeah.
But we've seen him dropped by multiple managers now, and then so if Ten Hag comes in and thinks he isn't Andreas Pereira, Jesus,
Not wanting to put you off, but that
suited for
name's there.
isn't suited for the Premier League, then that does speak volumes. But I am, of course, I'm willing to give him a chance, but I haven't seen anything during his United or Premier League career that makes me think that he's going to suddenly become amazing. Obviously, he was good in the Champions League, but
one thing's going to be for sure: if Ten Hag can't get the best out of Donny van der Beek, then we
No one can,
100%
exactly.
know that it's certainly not the league for him. That the pace, the physicality, because that's what's been thrown at him. I would like to think that. Come on, it's Ten Hag knows he's worked with this player before. He must know there's a player there.
And some players are just suited to some leagues. It's like you see it all the time. Like people say, "Oh, could they cut it in the Premier League?" And someone would come from like the Bundesliga, etc., and then they're awful. But then it can work the other way that someone's like been awful in one league and then comes to the Premier League and then we had brilliant here.
Mkhitaryan,
Oh yeah, I know. We're a terrible.
The thing is, this time
that's why I never trust any Bundesliga players.
It's like Ten Hag coming in, and Ten Hag is 100 mile an hour, high press, high energy football. So that is Premier League. We'd say the manager's suited to the Premier League. If Ten Hag can't get anything out of Donny van der Beek, it's like Ten Hag's first season in the Premier League in a different division as well. So he's going to take time. Maybe he may have to adapt his system slightly. It's how quickly they learn and get used to it, because it didn't go right straight away for Klopp. Didn't go straight away for Pep Guardiola. It's never set in stone. It looks right and looks good and on paper, but he's going to have to adapt to it himself and learn. But I think it's still the right decision, by the way. I'm not bringing it down anybody. Just
with
there.
Klopp, though, like he finished, what was it, 8th twice? And I feel like with Liverpool, they held their patience and they saw like the bigger picture. With our
Do you think United will?
I feel like United as a club can. But I know for an absolute fact that this fan base can't. Like they would literally, if we finished 8th next season, obviously it doesn't apply to everyone, but on Twitter it applies to about 95% of people. They would instantly turn, like the amount of accounts were like, oh yeah, we need to bring Rangnick in and he's going to change things around, etc. He's going to bring this pressing style of play, and I like Rangnick. So I'm not saying that I've turned on him, but the same people that were saying that we need to get Rangnick in have instantly turned on him. And there'll be the same people that are now waxing lyrical about Ten Hag, but there'll also be the first people that turn on Ten Hag as well.
Yes.
Like if we came 8th back to back, even if you saw progress, they're going to and it obviously not 8th. Well, hopefully not 8th isn't realistic, but it could be that we don't get top 4 again next season because we're losing so many players, bringing in so many, potentially so many youth players and new signings. Like the team we put out in May 2023 could be like half the team or more completely different. So, but this fan base does not have the patience, the online fan base anyway. I think the fans at Old Trafford will obviously back him because they even backed David Moyes, so they'll back him. But do United actually listen to the online fan base? Because I think you can make a case for, like Gary Neville was saying about how like the momentum like kind of carried Ten Hag, that the club were worried that if they appointed Poch over Ten Hag, like I still assume that they probably wanted to appoint Poch, that they feared the revolt.
I
of the
do
fans,
feel you're right on that one. I feel like the club was backed into a corner with Ten Hag, and it was forced on them more than anything. They still would have gone for Poch. I mean, I said this on Sunday, but you're dead right. I agree, Alex. I think the club were backed into a corner, and Gary Neville jumped on that on the last minute just to keep face, in my opinion, because he was still bigging up Pochettino. So I'm not having Gary Neville was a leader in all of this or anything like that. But you've seen what he did, and you're right. He did it last minute. Oh, the poll with 300,000 people. Yeah, okay. Let's just go with that now, just so I don't look like an idiot. But yeah, that's enough about GNev. Anyway, moving on. We have got a game tomorrow night. In fact, this is why we're on tonight. I did say at the start of the show, Thursday nights are gone. Sadly. Everyone's already taking the mick about where I'll be travelling to, and God knows what parts of the bleeding world, I don't know. But first of all, Beth, I'm going to come to you. Old Slabbit, Harry Maguire, could be out for the rest of the season if we're listening to reports. Blessing in disguise, dare I say it? A chance for another partnership to come, and maybe, we know what Varane's like. Is there a chance that we may even see Eric Bailly before the end of the season if we've got no Harry Maguire?
It's a big question. And I'm just glad Jay's not here with that comment, because God, he would have gone to town.
Oh, but, I saved 10 minutes till the end of the show for Jay if I give him that one.
Right. In my personal opinion, Harry Maguire injured. If someone said bet your life on the fact he's actually injured, I wouldn't do it. I don't
do injuries much, does it?
I don't like to question players over their injuries, because I would hope that every player would make themselves available if they weren't. And maybe the club, they're just trying to cover it up to take him out of the limelight because of the awful thing that happened with his house and the bomb threat, which should never happen to any player, by the way. But I don't believe he is injured, I really don't think he is. It's like the same way when Pogba came off for Liverpool. I was very dubious over that, just because of how United have been this season. And we know these players sometimes can duck out of the pressure and can duck out of the matches that, tomorrow is not going to be a good match, I don't think. I think Chelsea are going to absolutely dominate us. And I feel like a lot of players know that as well. And obviously a lot of players are under massive pressure in the media as well, which a lot of players can't handle. So I think it's a good thing that Maguire's out to the end of the season. I think he really needs, not in the way that I want him to be injured, because I don't, but in a way that I think he needs his head out of the...
It's like Robert says there, Beth, mentally unfit. It's a very good point. Mentally unfit is still unfit. It's still not ready for the game.
That is true, and I don't think it's helping him whatsoever, the constant criticism he's under, which by all means, he deserves it, because he's not been a good player this season for Manchester United. He's not been a good centre-back. It doesn't matter about your personality. It doesn't matter who you are as a person. If you're not playing well when you're playing for Manchester United or any club that is at the top level, you're going to come under criticism. It's nothing personal. It's just going to happen. So I think he needs a breakout. I think he needs to focus on his game, focus on how he's going to come back next season, focus on what he's going to achieve under the new manager. And to be honest, it's kind of sad, because you're towards the end of the season now, and for me, you've got to go and try and get that Europa League football, which is still not 100% guaranteed, but so many of these players will be checked out. A lot of the fans are checked out, going to games even, because we know there isn't really anything left to play for, and everyone's just looking forward to next season now. Everyone just can't wait for Ten Hag to come in, players to leave, that fans are so disconnected from. And I think with the injuries, if we were in contention for a trophy or Champions League football still, or the league, I'd be a lot more frustrated about it. But for me, players have been ducking and diving all season. Players have not been good all season. It's just the same old story now. It's not a surprise to me. So I am personally on that bandwagon where I can't wait for the season to end, which is really sad as a Manchester United fan who as well has a season ticket and goes to the games. I can't wait for the season to end. And I feel like a lot of the players probably feel that way too, which shows when it comes down to who's not available to play. Yeah,
there is a case, Kevin, for taking players out of the limelight. The right managers who have got that. I'm Ten Hag and how he's been written up and what he does now personally is with each player, and he knows the ins and outs of every single player. You would hope Ferguson was the same. The player's not right or something's going on, don't get near that team. It's swept away. It's dealt with straight away. Just the complete chaos that is Manchester United at the moment, I don't think has allowed anyone any chance to even step in and do that. And I think it's important sometimes for the players' mental health as well, because like we've said before, I mean, Harry Maguire didn't have a bad start at Manchester United. He's nowhere near as catastrophic as he is now, but it's only going to get worse sometimes if you keep playing him, innit, mate?
Yeah, it is. And the Maguire criticism, I mean, it is unfair because, and I think the injury couldn't have come at a worse time for him, because I thought he had his best shirt in a United shirt in, the Emirates
Best
last
game.
week. I had to do that. Sorry. It's deadly. But listen, whatever. That was awful, wasn't it? Somebody will get it now and they'll be like, yeah, he didn't play, he was on the bench, right?
Yeah.
We roll.
I clocked that afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet you were thinking, did he play a good game or whatever? But no, listen, that was harsh. I'm sorry about that. But it is, no, listen, being mentally unfit is a different thing as well. So you have to look at that. The one thing I'll say before that game, when Rangnick was asked about it, and we've heard about what's come out in the press, the bomb threat in his house and that. Rangnick did say it was to do with that, but it was other reasons as well. So for me, it wasn't solely down to that. Obviously, he's had a difficult week, but Rangnick's not daft, is he? He's looked into the player, and we've said that Maguire has needed taking out of that team and the captaincy taken off him for the good of Manchester United. We're not here to carry passengers anymore, regardless of whether he's an £80 million player or whatever. We want our club back. We want Manchester United to be winning games. And if that means breaking up the back two, bringing Varane back in, going with Eric Bailly, trying something different, because it's not been working. So we try different things. But yeah, it's a big part of football. And there's a lot of players at Manchester United, as Beth just said, have checked out. So how do you manage that? You're trying to pick a team week in, week out with players that probably already know the destination. They're not going to be at Manchester United. And where's the motivation for these players knowing that they're leaving? Are they going to be fighting to get United into a Champions League spot? Probably not.
Can I play devil's advocate for a second on the like mentally unavailable thing? Just purely from the sense of it. And I defend Maguire a lot more than most people, it seems. And this isn't defending him at all. It's the opposite, if anything. But like with what he went through with, like, okay, he does receive probably more abuse. Like him and Pogba probably the most abuse out of everyone. But what Ronaldo went through was 100 times worse. And he came back, and against Arsenal, he was absolutely amazing. So surely that shows the difference in mentality. Like, okay, I don't know the full details with the bomb threat and stuff, but realistically, like you've seen throughout the history, like was it Gerrard or Rooney? One of them got like a bullet posted through their door. Like Rio got people turn up at his, like thugs turn up at his house and stuff. And it's like they never really go through with this. They just do it as like posturing and stuff. Whereas Ronaldo went through major psychological trauma, came back and was by far the best player, including Arsenal, the best player on the pitch by an absolute mile. And with a fair ref and like small margins, could have got a hat-trick yet again at his age. And that just shows that that's a Manchester United captain, not like, and obviously what Maguire went through, I'm not condoning it all, but he was in terrible form before that. So he can't really use the bomb threat as an excuse. It's just another addition into the abuse he was getting anyway, which again, I don't condone. And he isn't as bad as he has been this season. And likewise with Rashford, he's not as bad as he's been this season, likewise with Shaw. So there's obviously further underlying problems, but the like just being taken out of it is like because of his mental health. I don't fully buy that, especially when he had the kind of arrogance, the same, like literally like what was it the day before, to be like, well, I can't be that bad because Southgate keeps picking me, Rangnick keeps picking me, Ollie keeps picking me. Like the arrogance and the like
it's a mentality issue,
non-self-awareness.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that. I mean, even what his sister said and came out with online was cringeworthy how they see him as one of the best performing United players this season. They see him as one of the best. Maguire's family as one of the best performing United players this season, and they're obviously just defending their own, and they've got every right to do that. But in terms of when they start talking football, I think that's where you probably need to draw the line. The abuse, yeah, it's like everyone says it. It's like Alex and Kev said. It's not on in a way. Criticise, yeah, but don't abuse. But to defend his football and his capabilities, it's a different argument altogether, because we all know he has been poor. And then for him to come out and say what he said, it's not helping the situation. But like Alex said there, and like Kev said, it's like everyone will use football and be able to use it in a way to help them. Some won't. It does look like Harry Maguire's off the field stress and what is going on isn't actually he's not helping himself playing. Some players actually use football to get over things. Everyone has a different mentality, totally. And I've heard Harry Maguire's
with
name,
that example, just to butt in with the use it. Remember, every time there was a scandal, Rooney would suddenly just be out of this world. Like there'd be all these like paper stories, and we'd be like, "Yes, we are about to get a good run of form here."
He turned into a rage monster, didn't he? He was just everywhere. I remember it. He was an absolute animal. But yeah, that mentality doesn't seem to be around much anymore. But it's what it is. Everyone deals with it differently. Like I said, I've heard the abuse Harry Maguire's received. I mean, Beth, you've been there. I've heard his name booed at least a dozen times when it's been announced. He was cheered off one game. That's bad. Pogba's booed off, like you said. Sometimes, if you know you're going out there and the abuse isn't so much off the pitch, it's when you're on it, it's probably hard as well. I will sort of throw that in there just into the mixer. But that's it. Harry Maguire, by all accounts, isn't fit for the Chelsea game tomorrow. I'm going to move into that now. Beth, I want to get your prediction on it first. This is the show where you can't hide, everybody. It's going to be pinned. It's going to be put up there. It's going to be clipped.
Oh, I've learned that the hard way.
This is going to be an interesting one. With the amount of players that, obviously, we've got Maguire supposedly not in. Shaw, Cavani, say no more. Waste of time. Pogba, Fred. Still a lot of players missing for us for this game, Beth. Can we have any hope after the way we've played recently of beating a top 3 side in the Premier League with that much missing?
There's always a chance in these games.
But what's your score prediction first before you start going into it?
I said in the chat earlier that I think Chelsea will beat us 2-0. And the reason I think that is because I don't think Manchester United are capable of scoring goals unless it is Ronaldo. That's the only outlet it'll probably come through. But I don't really see who's going to be supplying Ronaldo in this game. I think Chelsea will dominate the ball. And I think maybe if he gets a chance, possibly will score. But we've not been creating that many chances. Ronaldo's just been getting on the end of absolutely everything he possibly can when that's why he's been scoring. So, and I think our defence, even though Maguire's not playing, you've got Telles and Dalot as fullbacks, and Dalot capable of a good game, but Telles is always going to be a weakness defensively, in my opinion. So I think they can score goals against us, definitely, especially thinking about how flaky our defence has been all season. And I mean, Norwich stuck 2 past us at home, for God's sake. So Chelsea are going to score 2-0 is probably quite a conservative scoreline, if we're going off how we've played recently in the Liverpool game and things like that. So try to be optimistic a lot of the time. Anything can happen. Maybe you'll see a few academy players get a chance, and it's a hard task against Chelsea, even though they've not been this Chelsea team that we've seen where they're not winning consistently. They're still a miles better team than us, with a coach that's been there longer, a coach that's well drilled, a coach that is respected, and players that, despite what's happening at the club at the moment with the whole not being able to sell tickets, transfers and everything like that, the team is still playing for the manager and the players are still playing for the club. So I think it's 2 different clubs on 2 different levels, and I'd be shocked if we got anything out of that game. But it'll be interesting to see if we see a few youth players and as well players that I'm hoping we'll see a Garnacho. I'm hoping we'll see a Maguire, and I might have said his name wrong. But I don't want to be seeing it's like Jesse Lingard and Matt. It's like they're leaving in the summer. We're not getting Champions League football. Play someone who's going to show a bit and who is going to progress and give people a chance. I feel like these are players that have had their chance at Manchester United now, and we need to be looking for the future. And this game, I've not got high expectations, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it's like that. I mean, I disagree, Beth, with the youth players. There's a bigger game next week in the FA Cup, FA Youth Final. I think that's probably the best game I'm going to go to.
Are you going to that?
I'm going, yeah. That's probably. I actually want to go and watch some football, so I'm going to watch that. Again, it's the best football that we've had played all season at Old Trafford. It's them. So I'm like, leave them alone. Don't even go near it because we don't want their confidence dampening by getting hammered off Chelsea. I went 2-0 as well, just so everybody knows. I'm going to mix it up now because I know Mr. Hopeful is coming next. It's Kev. Kev, what are you seeing this Chelsea game as?
Manchester United to win 2-1. I don't ask
I'm not
why.
laughing at that. I was just laughing at Kev there, trying to think what to say.
The camera.
The way you put that. No, well, you're getting Mr. Positivity. I cannot tell you why Manchester United will win 2-1. They probably won't in many people's eyes, but maybe that's just because I'm a bit of a knobhead and I just like to be positive. That's why. I just think United will win. And in terms of a team, right, I'd go with 3 at the back. Not the same 3 that played at Anfield. I know it's at Old Trafford, but looking at injuries, I'd be looking at a Bailly, Lindelof, Varane. Varane maybe trying to bring the ball out into the centre. You're going to have to stick with Matic, McTominay. On the left, it's a huge problem at the minute. When Luke Shaw's injured, I don't think Tellez is doing himself any favours. I'd love to give a Brandon Williams a chance. Obviously, he's not there. There's been talks of Fernandes possibly coming in, but if he sticks with Tellez on the right-hand side, Dalot you probably go with, and then Bruno Fernandes, Hannibal, Elanga, Ronaldo. I think I'd go with and that is, we know that there's it's a serious injury problem. I heard it today, injury crisis at Old Trafford, Man United, and started spilling names off. They were like, Luke Shaw was like, been out for ages. Cavani, I'm like, he's not played for about 3 years. They just add all these names and make it sound real. I'm like, yeah. Injury crisis. We just got to get on with it. 2-1.
It's not negative, Alex. It's realistic in what we've watched this season. There's a lot of players missing. Chelsea are a miles better team. We know this. So looking at it in that, is that why you've gone with your score prediction, which is?
3-1 to Chelsea. The only chance, and it isn't even a chance, that we have is if they completely capitulate and just check out like they did against Arsenal. But I don't see that happening. Like Beth said, Ronaldo's the only goal outlet. I put a tweet out the other day, which is just absolutely ridiculous when you think about it, that Green...
no flow as well. Poor Alex. So we're getting back before the end of the show, which is in about 3 minutes, everybody, because I know you're all dying to watch another decent game of football, which... is a competition we're not in anymore in Liverpool.
I'll say one thing, Adam, that there is not many people in the live comments that are backing Kev up anyway. Nobody's singing from the same hymn sheet as me this evening.
Sorry,
Alex,
as I was saying,
carry on, mate.
That Greenwood is still our 3rd top goal scorer and he hasn't played since, January.
Oh
it's
my
just the contribution from everyone else is just absolutely pathetic. And it's not like Greenwood's on some impossible to reach number. He's on 6 goals. So it's like Bruno's on 9 and Ronaldo, I don't know, is now on 21 or something because he's just carrying us so much. And Bruno, when was the last time Bruno scored anyway? So it's like Bruno's probably been on 9 just as long as Greenwood's been on 6 because Bruno was always above Greenwood. So it's just the lack
Leeds
of
won it, yeah.
anything apart from Ronaldo and De Gea this season is just absolutely pathetic. And it's just a roll on next season, and Chelsea will smash us if they actually turn up. But the only just to tie in to give Kev some hope is that United's actual track record against Chelsea is actually pretty decent, home and away. So
that's what I meant to say earlier. Hey, that was what I was angling at.
That's it.
We were crap this season before going to Stamford Bridge, and we should have won that game really if Wan-Bissaka didn't give away that penalty. So
I will be happy as long as Romelu Lukaku does not score. I can't stand that man. I don't even know if he's injured or whatever he is, but the way United season's going, I swear to God, I would not put it past that guy coming up and scoring a goal. And do you know what? If Harry Maguire was playing it, it'd probably be him who was marking him. It'd just tip the season over the edge, wouldn't it? I mean, anyone but that guy, it would just it would finish me off. It would be done, finished. But anyway, we've got the hope factor, haven't we? We've got it. That's what we're going with. We're going to go with Kev's on this one. We're not trying to be negative, like I said. It's just realistic. Beth said it. 2 goals conceded against Norwich, 4 against Liverpool, 3 against Arsenal. It's it's a tough ask.
You basically, you lot are being really, really realistic. And I'm just being reckless, like really, really reckless.
I know what it is. It's because this game's coming on a Thursday. Kev started drinking the night early before. He's just got a little bit excited, everyone, and he's just not having it. But that is it.
For him tomorrow night.
Yeah, fan forum's going to be fun, isn't it? That is it for tonight, guys. Cheers for tuning in, everybody. Don't forget to fly across to That Is Football. Max watching the Liverpool game now. He's going to watch along there, so fly across there. Watch Mac. Kev. Cheers for coming on, mate.
Always a pleasure, never a chore. Thanks very much. Great discussion and debate as always. And come on, United tomorrow. 2-1.
Lovely job, Beth. Nearly time to celebrate. Not quite yet. If anyone wasn't in earlier on, Beth finishes university tomorrow and she's celebrating with her United. And then all she's just celebrating, forget that. But coming on, Beth.
Always good to come on. And also, I just wanted to mention then quickly how much of an easy run have Liverpool had to the Champions League semi-final. I literally look at it, I'm like, they've had such an easy run, but yeah.
Just throwing it out there.
United tomorrow.
Alex, not seen you for a while. Cheers for coming on, mate. Good to have you on tonight, buddy.
Thanks. Good to be back now. Time to get back into hiding until we're good again.
That's it. He'll come on every now and then.
10 years, Alex.
You're always active on Twitter and you're always active in the chat.
That's it. Guys, that is it. Cheers for all the super chats. Everyone who's joined us tonight. All your points were on point. Points on point. Yeah, lovely. Anyway, that is it. Cheers to watching, everybody. Across to That's Football. Mark's there now watching the Liverpool game. Enjoy the football, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night with the fan forum, match vlogs, road trip. Everything is back tomorrow. Thanks for watching, everybody. Enjoy the evening.